Hi, this is Keith from TheHDBUpgrader. Today's video, I'll be talking about an upcoming EC launch, which is happening this weekend. Altura EC, which is in Bukit Batok area. Right, so the reason why I'm doing this video is because I have a few buyers who is interested, but then they somehow had this feeling that it's not so near to MRT, and they were a bit concerned, which is why I came up with this presentation kit, and I shared with them some important data about ECs at this area, and they are actually pretty much very excited now to visit the show flat. And I have decided to come up with this video to share all this information that I've collected with everyone. Alright, so I'll just go straight into what I have for you. Okay, just a quick disclaimer. And okay, key takeaways for this video. Right, so number one, I'll be going very quickly on the main highlights of Altura, and then the performance of the nearby past ECs, the price gap of the new ECs versus the new private launches over the past 16 years. This one is actually one of the very important things that I would like to go through with you. And the number of BTO clusters and HDB resale prices at this location. Alright, so these are the four main things that I'll be going through with you. I don't think this will be a very long video. I'll try to make it quick so that you can digest it a lot easier. Alright, okay, so number one, main highlights of Altura. Okay, so this is a map that I've gotten from the brochure from developer. Alright, so I will just point out a few things. Alright, so the first thing is ACS. Alright, so this is something that is really important, especially nowadays parents, we are very concerned about our child's education. ACS being a top primary school and just within 1 km from Altura, this is something that is really a strong pulling factor for not even yourself, but also your buyers next time when you put your property out for resale. This will create a very strong demand for your property in future, right? Which is important. Secondly, we have Le Quest over here, which is a proper mall where you have all your amenities that you need. And just opposite this HDB plot, there are also some neighborhood commercials, which will give you the convenience that you're looking at living in this location, right? So a bit further away will be Jurong Innovation District and the Jurong Lake District. These two are very important because this gives job creation. This actually creates a very strong second CBD in this whole western area. And again, this will bring about rental demand. Next time when you sell, your capital gain, all this will actually be positively affected, right? But actually for this location, to me personally, I don't think we actually even need to look so far, right? Like Jurong Innovation District and Jurong Lake District, because for the Tengah area, right, and this location itself is already strong enough in terms of your rental and also your capital gain. I will share this more as we go on. Right, so this is the master plan I pulled out from URA. So this location here will be where Altura is. There's going to be another plot over here, which is an upcoming EC by CDL. This one probably end of this year or early next year, right? So this is something that we know there's definitely going to be another EC, but as of now, we do not have the date on when it will be launched. All right, so first thing that I mentioned just now, ACS. Okay, so this is one of the major highlight. All right, so buyers who had bought the previous EC, Copen Grand, is actually here. Yeah, and when the news of ACS coming into Tengah came out, got released in the press, everyone was so excited and happy about it, right? So the Quest, this is where the mall that I spoke about just now, where you get your amenities, and it is just a very short walk over from Altura. Okay, and then these blue boxes, right, which you see appearing on the screen now, are the plots that as of now do not have any proposed planning by URA. Right, so why is this important? It's because every time when we buy into an area, I always tell my client that we must be able to be forward looking. All right, so now that we buy into here, we know that next EC will be here. It is good because we know that government is expanding the residential areas at this location. And then in future, if let's say this yellow plot, these 3 yellow plots here, which we call it the reserve site, which can be used for anything. For example, if let's say now the government release one of this land into a private condo. So what does this mean? Is that the launch price of this condo will naturally be higher than your entry price. And this will give you a very comfortable benchmark whereby you know that people who are unable to buy an EC, be it eligibility issues or whatever, they will be paying a price, an entry price which is much higher than what you are paying for. And this will make your exit strategy a lot easier and also giving you the assurance that your capital gain will be there. All right, so every time when I get my clients to look at any location, all these empty plots that do not have current any plans is very important to me. But, all right, so this is the thing that a lot of buyers are telling me. Altura, not near to MRT, cannot buy. All right, inconvenience, yes. And then next time, sure, hard to sell and capital gain will not be good. Right, so is this also your concern? Right, so this is the reason why I'm actually doing this video, to show you some data that you may not know, and I believe it will be very helpful because I've gone through this presentation kit with some of my clients, and they feedback to me that hey, they actually don't know about all this data and they actually find it very, very useful. Okay, so let me just go on straight to what I have for you. Performance of nearby past EC. Right, so looking forward, just now I was talking about looking forward to new plots so that we have new price level. But what if we look at historical? What are the ECs and how are their characteristics at this location, and did they perform well? Right, so this will give us a very good indication. Is it safe? Is it okay to go into Altura? Okay, so first of all, at this map, right, in this map, Altura is over here, 360 units and 860 meter to Tengah Park MRT. Right, so this is one of the main concerns a lot of buyers have. Let's look at I will be going from the oldest ECs to the newest one, so you can follow the timeline and then see how they actually perform. So for Westmere and the Dew, you can see it's TOP 1999 and TOP 2000. Look at their capital gain, 158% capital gain, 141% capital gain. Right, and are they close to MRT? Not really, you know. It's 700 meter to, this is Chinese Garden, and this is Bukit Batok MRT. All right, fast forward, the rainforest, which is in Choa Chu Kang town, TOP 2015, not so long ago, only about 8 years old, 65% capital gain, and again, 570 meter from Bukit Batok, from Choa Chu Kang MRT. All right, so there's a typo over here. Wondervale and Soul Acres, TOP 2018. Look at their capital gain, 67%, 78% respectively, and again note their distance to the MRT, 650 meter, 1.2 kilometer to Choa Chu Kang MRT station. Right, and then the most recent one, Inns Residence, TOP 2019, 51 capital gain, 1.28 kilometer to Choa Chu Kang MRT station. And last one, Copenhagen, which was just launched recently and fully sold out during the second booking when the second timer is able to buy the remaining units again. Right, so as of now, even though it's a new launch and no sub sale, there's no special approval sale, it is already 10% up. Okay, the first unit versus the last unit out. This is the characteristics of new launches. Usually the developer will price the first unit out at the lowest PSF and the last unit out will be at the highest PSF, which means that if you are going for a new launch, it is usually advisable to go in on the launch day itself. Right? So, but one thing I want to note about this entire slide is that imagine yourself as a resale buyer. If let's say today you are looking at the resale EC, you're not going for a new one, you will notice that all these past ECs, right, they are not really near to MRT stations. The nearest will be Copenhagen, which is still under construction. And then the available one will be Rainforest 570. And you look at the rest of these ECs on the screen, they are not really that near to MRT station. So this brings me to an important point. Even though all these ECs are not near to MRT station, look at their capital gain. Right, so Rainforest 65, Inns is 51, Westmere and the Deal, because they are older ECs, so naturally their capital gain is a lot higher, which is not so fair lah, alright? Because when they were launched cooling measures and the entire market is totally different as per the market now. So it is only natural that you can see all these very, very huge capital gain numbers. But if you look at the recent launches, Wondervale, Soul Acres, 67%, 78% capital gain, which is really, really very healthy. And like I say, all of these launches, right, all of these past ECs, they are not near to MRT stations at all. Right, so these are the charts that shows the capital gain. I will not be going through in detail lah. You all can actually take a look at yourselves. Anyway, in the description, I will be putting a link whereby you can download all these slides, and in your own free time, you can go through all these slides on your own. Right, so the Deal, Rainforest, all this. Anyway, just to explain a bit, this blue bar over here is the volume, right? So the transaction. So it is always the highest on the first day, and all this dark blue one are the resale transactions volume. All right. Okay, I'll just skip through all this. Next thing I want to come to will be the price gap of new ECs versus the new private launches in the past 16 years. All right, so this is actually also very important because as buyers who are going for new launches, especially in the current market, everybody is saying that, wow, the PSF is really high. Is it safe to enter? Right, so all this comes to mind. And the most important thing is the entry price. Right, so is it safe for me to enter into an EC where the PSF is actually now around 1,004 on average? Right, so this is something I want to point out to you. Okay, so I go all the way back to 2007. Right, so back then, you can see over here the numbers. Private is commanding around 651, whereas for new EC, they are launching around 494. Okay, so if you look at all these filters, right, I only look at new sale, right, for both private, OCR region. Okay, reason is because our ECs are always on the outside central region. Okay, so ECs do not go into the CCR, the core central region, and very rarely they appear in the city fringe area. Right, so to have an apple-to-apple comparison, this is the filter that I've set up. And then the second one, the blue one, will be the EC, and then also looking at new sale. Right, so 2007, it's the price gap is 31.7%, higher for private. I go to 2012. Right, so this is just before the cooling measures was implemented, and the whole Singapore market is actually picking up very, very strongly. Some of y'all may know that 2013 was when our Singapore property market was at its last peak. Right, so as of now, due to COVID, we are now at another peak, which is higher than 2013. But before that, 2013 was the highest point where our Singapore property market were. Right, so 2012. Private 1113, EC 704, 58.1% higher for private, which means that people who actually bought in 2012 and EC, their capital gain is very high. Reason why is because imagine now we have buyer A and we have buyer B. Right, buyer A go into private 1113, whereas buyer B went into EC 704. Because of the price gap difference, when both of them want to exit, they want to sell their unit in the open market. Naturally for A, he has to sell, let's say, 1004. Whereas for EC, right, 5 years semi-privatized, 10-year privatized, the gap from 700 to 1004 is a very good 700 PSF difference. So this is the gap that I'm actually looking at. And why is this important? Is because this gap is a buffer. Because end of the day, when foreigners are all able to buy either a private resale or the resale EC, right, they have this choice. And if let's say B, being able to go into an EC at such a big price gap, this will means that it is safer for him and much easier for him to exit in between these two price gap, which is 700 PSF difference. Right, so I will come to this. I will explain probably this a bit more later on. So I'll fast forward to 2015. You can see that after the cooling measures implemented, private and EC price gap dropped a little bit to 50%, which is still a very big difference in terms of the price gap. 50% is quite a lot. So 2019, this is when the previous batch, Piermont Grand, Park Canberra, all these ECs were launched, and now they're actually TOP. Piermont Grand has already TOP, and those like Park Central, Park Canberra, all these are TOP very soon. Right, so you can see the price gap closed down to 26.5% only. Right, so those, if some of y'all here are savvy, y'all have been following the market, 2003 was when people were looking at Treasure at Tampines, the Tapestry, and that was when there were some buyers who were contemplating, hey, if I buy into an EC at 1001, might as well I go for a private at 1003. Right, so this is the price gap that I was talking about just now. Instead of waiting for 3 to 4 years of construction time, and then I have to hold on to this EC for 5 years MOP period before I can let go in the open market, right? Why not I just pay a little bit more to go for a private? And after the 3 years SSD period, they have the option to actually either stay there or they sell in the open market to get the capital gain and move on. Right, so this was a very common strategy that a lot of buyers were looking at in 2019. But what about today? So now, if let's say some of y'all have been following the market closely, you would have known OCR prices, which is the outside region, right? The PSF is generally already over 2000 PSF, right? So this point over here, now we are looking at 2090 on average. But where is EC? EC is only still around 1003, 1004. High 1003, around 1004 in average. And look at the number again. Now we are back to 50% higher if you would go to a private versus an EC. And in case you're wondering, hey, how come Copen Grand, how come tenant ECs are selling like hotcakes? This is the reason why, okay? Because the price gap for new EC versus new private has widened up just in about 3 to 4 years time, and basically because of COVID, where the entire market is moving very fast. But surprisingly for new ECs, the entry price is still considered low when you compare to the private market. And again, what does this mean to buyers? So number one is that with the price gap widening, this gives the first timers and some HDB upgraders probably the last opportunity to enter into the private segment. Just for example, if let's say we are looking at a 1000 square feet unit, a 3-bedder, 2090 PSF for a new launch private, this will easily be a quantum of over 2 million, right? Whereas if let's say we go for a new EC, it will probably be around 1004 PSF, 1.3, 1.4 million. And at this type of quantum, it is more comfortable and safer for HDB upgraders to enter. And this is the opportunity that I'm talking about. All right. Number two, the price gap widening also means that affordability, right? So some of y'all who has been following the property market, you may be wondering, hey, how come Copen Grand, how come Tenet EC in the Tampines area are selling like hotcakes? It is because of affordability. It comes back to this same example. If let's say this buyer is looking at a new launch, and then they look at the new EC, they will realize that, wow, just comparing 4 years ago, the price gap was only 20%, but now it is 50%. And like the example I gave just now, people considering Piedmont Grand versus Treasure, they still have this option of thinking which segment to go into because the price gap was smaller. But now, with a 1.4 million versus a 2 million, affordability becomes a big concern. And this is the main reason why the recent ECs has been selling so well. Right, number three, price gap widening also means that it is now extra safe for new EC buyers. Okay, so same thing. Example for buyer A going in at 1004 PSF, whereas a new private new launch buyer B, needs to go in at 2000 PSF. This price gap in future, when both of them enter the resale market and they put up their unit for sale, this price gap in terms of PSF will make your exit much easier and much safer as a new EC buyer. Right, so number four, naturally, if you have this buffer in terms of a PSF, this will naturally give you a higher profit margin. Alright, so after going through all this, I hope that you as a buyer or as a HDB upgrader can see how the price gap between a new EC and a new private affects you in terms of your opportunity, affordability, your entry level, and the profit margin that you'll be looking at in future when you put your unit into the resale market. Okay? Right, so I'll go into the last segment, which I want to go through with you, which is also really important. The number of BTO clusters and the HDB resale prices in Bukit Batok itself. Right, so why is this important? It's because when you put up your unit in the open market eventually, you will want to sell at a good profit, and the HDB upgraders surrounding you will be your largest pool of buyers. So we will want to look at how much profit have they made from their HDB, and are they able to afford buying into your unit, giving you the profit margin that you're looking at. Okay, right, so I did a location scan of Bukit Batok itself, and there are 5 main clusters with transactions aged between 0 to 10. So I'm looking at the newer batches, and this is more relatable because these are the younger families who will be looking at this natural progression of coming from a HDB into the private segment. Okay, and then of course there are more the HDB BTO clusters meeting MOP very soon, and again this is very good news for EC buyers because you have so many HDB upgraders but looking only at a very limited stock. Okay, so look at the map again. Altura is over here, and I am going to be looking at these 5 main clusters. Right, so West Regis, which is just opposite Altura, these are the 4 and 5 room price range, the transactions that has already been done. Alright, so I actually got all this transaction from HDB website itself. So if you are interested, you can actually go to the HDB website, and these are the numbers that you will get. So how much did all the 4 room and 5 room people make in West Regis. Average profit around 300,000. Right, I go to the next cluster, West Valley, West Terra, a 5 years old estate. Average profit 371,000. A 5-room is hitting 880, okay, which is just very nearby to Altura. West Crest, also 5 years old, also hitting above 800k for a 5-room, above 630 for a 4-room, profit 300k. Right, Skyline 1 and 2, average profit 387,000, 5-room hitting over 900,000. Right, and then the last one, Sky Peak, also 5 years old, average profit around 370,000. Right, so by being able to sell at this type of price level, 880, 900, 900, or if let's say we look at 4-room HDB, 670, 760, 780, this gives the HDB upgraders in this location, right, the firepower or the affordability, the financial capability to enter into a resale private EC in future, right? So this is important because every time as a seller, when we want to sell our property, definitely we want to get a very high transaction, high selling price. But again, are the buyers who are buying your property able to afford? So the answer by looking at these numbers is yes. All right, so with the profit margin that they're looking at and the CPF and the cash portion required, going into a resale EC when you eventually put up your unit for sale is a very natural progression for all these BTO upgraders. This slide is just some data I've consolidated showing you the entry price of the HDB clusters that I just showed you. And this last slide will be to show you what are the upcoming BTO clusters that are reaching MOP soon, which means that more buyers will be able to look at your Altura unit when eventually you put up your unit for sale in the open market. Westgate, just opposite us. West Hill, right beside Altura. There's West Glades, West Plains, West Rock, West Quarry, West Edge, and you'll realize that all these are just right beside where Altura is. And not forgetting this entire new Tengah HDB estate. So as of now, if let's say in future, any of these HDB upgraders want to upgrade into a private segment and they want something new, there's only going to be Copen Grand and Altura for them to choose from. With so many BTO upgraders, and let's look at the stock level. Copen Grand 639 unit, Altura 360 unit, upcoming Bukit Batok Avenue 5 by CDL 495 units to be confirmed, and there's going to be another Tengah plot EC also. I will just estimate 500 units. Approximately there's only 2,000 units available right at this location. So do you think it's enough for all these HDB potential upgraders? Right, so this one I'll leave it for you to ponder over. Okay, so summary. Why is Altura to me going to be a very good buy in the current market? Key reasons, I'll just go through again. Past ECs at this location, right, had the same characteristics. Are any of them right beside MRT? Right, so this is important because if let's say now there's this resale buyer who's looking for a resale condo, naturally he'll be looking at which project is nearer to MRT, which gives me the convenience. So from the map that I showed you just now, right, there isn't. Right, if let's say they are looking for affordability, because usually for resale ECs, the entry price is a lot more affordable, they cannot find anything that's just right beside MRT, which means that if you're going for Altura, you are not at a huge disadvantage because the past ECs at these locations is the same, right? So none of them is just right beside MRT. But the good thing about Altura is that you have ACS and you have LaQuest. And if you followed me just now, right opposite at the Tengah area, there is some commercial, some neighborhood HDBs and MRTs for your convenience, which brings for Altura buyers a lot more convenience staying at that location. And as of now, there are no stock in the market. Kopan Grand fully sold. Tenet EC in Tampines fully sold. The only one available now is North Gaya, which is in Yishun. That one again is not near to MRT, and that one is all the way to the far north, right? So if you're looking at something which is in the west, there's nothing available. This is the one and only EC launch in 2023. And why am I saying time equals to opportunity? It's because if let's say we look at going to a new EC versus a new private. For a private buyer, new private buyer, they only have the 3 years SSD before they can decide whether they want to do a sub-sale and then to get a capital gain and move on. Whereas for new EC buyer, the 5 years MOP only starts upon key collection, right? So the time frame that you'll be looking to hold on into this property, right, is going to be a good 8 to 9 years. 3 to 4 years of construction time, you get your key, and then you still have the 5 years MOP to run down, right? So if let's say you're not going to Altura, you want to wait for something next year, it will be 1 more year of opportunity, time opportunity cost loss. All right. Price gap. Okay, so this is something I went through. The price gap between the new EC and the new private, the new price level going forward, right? So as we, let's say if you look at the data, go to square foot or you go to HProp and you look at the land sales, future ECs will be commanding higher pricing levels, right? And this will directly afford your affordability and your entry price. All right, so because we do not know how the price gap between the new EC and the new private will be going forward. So, but as of now, a 50% price gap is a very, very safe entry price for new EC. And not forgetting eligibility for next year. Income ceiling is something that always affects EC buyers. Right, so number 4, which is what I just went through, the number of HDB BTO clusters, the profit of these HDB people benchmarking the capital gain for Altura in future, and also the high demand from HDB upgraders. Remember I showed the map, the number of HDB BTO clusters currently plus upcoming versus the limited number of units from Kopan Grand, from Altura and the future 2 ECs coming up. The demand and supply is definitely not enough. If let's say the HDB upgraders only want to upgrade into the same location. Alright, so this comes to the end of the data that I want to show you. I hope that whatever I went through with you was beneficial. And at this last part, I just want to quickly go through some things that you may not know about new ECs. Right, so what are the key advantages of buying a new EC? Is that you do not have to sell your HDB now. Right, the only point whereby you need to sell a HDB is when your new EC is reaching TOP. Right, so you do not have the hassle, the worry of needing to sell a HDB now and renting a property while waiting for the EC to be constructed. So don't have to, all right? So this is one of the main key advantage, and no ABSD required. Even though you book an EC now and not selling a HDB, you do not have to pay any ABSD. Okay, so upgrading to private sector in a very safe manner, this is the price gap that I mentioned just now. Especially in the current market, the 50% of a new EC versus a new private, this gives you additional safety net, and it makes it even safer for HDB upgraders to be upgrading into a new EC. Right, then the last one will be the current HDB can help to finance the purchase even though you haven't sold a HDB. This is what we call a bridging loan, but I will not be going into too much details here because there are a lot of details to go through for bridging loan. So if let's say we do happen to meet up, then probably I can give you more information on this. So what is my role? How can I actually assist you in your purchase of this new EC? Okay, these are the few things that I'll be going through with you if we do meet up. I will do an assessment on your eligibility to make sure that your income ceiling is okay. If let's say you are currently owning a HDB, make sure that your MOP has already reached and so on. Number two, which is the most important to me, is the financial and the loan assessment. As much as we would want to upgrade to a new EC, be it upgrading of a lifestyle or looking at the profit capital gain in future, we would always want to be safe. And numbers is most important to me, to make sure that we are not overstretching, to make sure that the risk is minimized and you're upgrading safely. Right, so third thing will be your risk assessment. This comes from the numbers that we work out after going through the financial and the loan. And how to choose the right unit to maximize your family's enjoyment and at the same time maximizing your future capital gain when you exit. Right, so this is also something that comes with experience. Is choosing a pool facing unit better, or is choosing an outer facing unit better? Right, so this is something that is also very important in terms of capital gain. Last thing will be appeals. So I believe some of you, probably your income ceiling exceeds by a little, or your current HDB is still under MOP period. So all this, we will also do our best to assist to see how we can appeal, and you can go on to book a unit, for example, for Altura. Okay? Right, so this comes to the end of this video. If you have been following me all this while, thank you for watching this video, and I hope that whatever I've prepared and presented to you has been useful and beneficial in your decision making. And the main important takeaway is that not being near to the MRT, when we look at the past ECs at this location, is not that huge of a disadvantage. Because if you remember the numbers, or you can actually look at the slides again, all the past ECs, even though they are a good distance away from the nearby MRT, the capital gain is really strong. And to me, why is that so is because of the limited supply versus this huge demand of HDBs in this western area. If you are familiar with Choa Chu Kang, Teck Whye, Bukit Panjang, Bukit Batok area, you will know that there are so many HDBs over here, which is why that even though it may be a bit inconvenient in terms of MRT, the distance to MRT, it didn't really affect the capital gain that the past EC buyers have gotten. Okay, Ken, I think that's enough. That's all I have for this video. If you would like to find out more about Altura or any other ECs like North Gaya and the upcoming ECs, feel free to give me a call and we can have a non-obligatory appointment. I can go through with you your assessments and everything, and hopefully I can share more of my research and knowledge with you so that you can make good decisions in your property. Alright, so I'm Keith from the HDB Upgrader. Hope to see you soon, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.